came up with something that I thought could be beneficial to everyone. So, what I find is that when we do these master classes, and not to take away from any of it, but the instructors aren't always doing what they're telling everybody else to do. Like, make your calls, call these people. But if you really ask the instructor who they've been calling, they're not really making a lot of phone calls. And so I thought, in an effort to have integrity, I wanted to talk about the 5 things, 5 in a play for obviously Fiv Realty, that I'm working on personally, with hopes that it inspires you all to maybe look at what you're doing and either refocus energy on things that are going to be higher and better use of your time, or maybe some of the things that I'm doing where you're like, hey, that's a great idea. I want to incorporate that into my day-to-day. So I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. I will probably go for maybe 15 to 20 minutes, and then we can leave some space for Q&A. So I'm going to jump right in. The number one thing I'm focused on right now is networking / prospecting. So we've heard this before. Your income, your livelihood is directly dependent on the number of conversations that you have. So for me, I'm always looking to associate with and be around as many people as possible, because I know that when I'm around people and I'm having conversations around real estate or even just life, I can create opportunities. And one thing I focus on is always trying to find ways to add value to the people that I'm talking to. So the one thing that we talk about a lot at RMG is we don't want to check in with anybody, because no one really wants to be checked in with. So we're looking for ways to add value to the people that we talk to. And when I say people that we talk to, what we're talking about our sphere, right? So we've got our clients that we've served in the past, that we want to stay in touch with because they may be able to refer business to us, or they may want to do more business with us, right? Right now, a lot of people who own homes that have already bought with us may want to invest. We want to spend time focusing our efforts with our friends and our family. And in my situation, I'm also looking to expand my team. So I'm spending time prospecting agents, and I'm also spending time prospecting agents that may not necessarily be a good fit for my team, but may be a great fit for Fiv. And so what am I doing? What am I saying? Right now, one of my favorite things to talk about is equity, because a lot of sellers are not selling for a couple reasons, right? We know that the interest rate that they have is preventing them from wanting to get a new interest rate in the 6s and 7s. And we also know that if they list their property and they can't sell it, if they can sell it, but where are they going to go? So there's this bottleneck. So I was like, okay, well, how can I get people who have equity to transact? And I actually asked ChatGPT, what are 3 ways that a homeowner can leverage their equity to create more wealth? And the top 3 answers were: A, pull money and create capital improvements. So that's going to create a higher quality of life for these people that don't plan on moving. And then when they want to go sell in the future, their home is in better condition. B, they can pull money from their property, use that as a down payment to buy their next property, and then rent out their current home, which is now turning them into an investor, and they're increasing their portfolio size. And then the third is pulling money from their current residence and just using that money to invest. So for example, I know somebody right now in my network that pulled $300K from their equity. They bought a 4-plex in Cleveland cash, and now they're cash flowing. So a great email to somebody that you're working, that's in your database, that is sitting on a mountain of equity, is, hey, I'm not sure if this is for you, but right now I've got several clients pulling equity from their property to do one of the 3 things. If any of these investing strategies sound interesting to you, I'd love to set up a time to have a conversation. But at the end of the day, here's what's going on. A lot of you are overthinking, and I speak from experience, who to call and what to say, and that's creating paralysis. And so you're doing nothing. And that's the absolute worst thing you can do. So stop focusing on the message and just start focusing on the activity, which is call people that you're really comfortable with and have conversations around it. Another strategy that I like to use is, who do you know that might be interested in possibly making a move? Nobody likes to sell. Nobody likes to buy. That's like a painful process, but people want to move. And the beauty of it is if you say, hey, who do you know that's thinking about possibly moving? Number one, the person you're talking to, you're taking the pressure off of them to say like, oh, I'm not interested in buying or selling. But if they are, they'll tell you. And then you don't have to say interested in selling or buying, because when you say interested in moving, it already addresses both selling and buying. So at the end of the day, make your calls wherever you're looking to grow, have those conversations. The more conversations you have, the more you stir the pot, the more opportunities you'll create. So that's one of the things I'm doing. The second thing that I'm doing right now is I'm focusing on improving my skills. I always want to get better as a leader, as a communicator, as a real estate agent, as a husband. So I'm always looking to improve my skills. The number one way I'm looking to improve my skills right now is through communication. So, in this industry, we always hear things like, we need to have more conversations, but we never really hear we need to have better conversations. Raise your hand. There's a lot of people, there are group settings here. Raise your hand if you think that you talk too much when you're with a client and you don't ask enough questions. Okay, so like half the room. So if you're talking more than 20% of the time, then you're not doing a great job being a salesperson, because whoever asks the most questions controls the conversations. And the more questions you ask, the more you uncover. And the more you uncover, the more certainty you create around the advice you can give this person. So for me, I spent some time going through the Phil Jones event. And I think Nazar is there right now, right? He has a book called Exactly What to Say. There are other books you can use too. There's Never Split the Difference with Chris Voss. He's an FBI negotiator. He also is really heavy on the question-based selling. But the bottom line is if you're looking to sell more homes and serve more people, you have to look within and find ways to elevate your skill set. And if you can be a great question asker and you can be a great communicator, you can have the same amount of conversations that you're having now, but have a higher conversion rate. And I'm a much bigger fan of working smarter, not harder. Number 3, leverage technology. So that's one of my obsessions right now, is how can we create more automation in the day-to-day? So I'm looking at how we can create more automation on the team. How can we make things that we do? So for example, if we're always having the same conversation with a prospect, why can't we just make a video and then just share that video and never have to have that conversation again? So little things like that buy back your time. Most specifically, I'm learning more about artificial intelligence. So ChatGPT is, I'm assuming, on most people's radars. And so if you haven't heard of ChatGPT, I would encourage you to Google it and explore it. And if you have heard of it, I would encourage you to use it more than you are currently using it, unless it's part of your day-to-day. Who here right now is using ChatGPT for something really cool that would love to unmute themselves and maybe talk a little bit about how it's making their life easier?
Or can we say who uses it for embarrassing things?
Like, what's that mean?
Every text message I send out, every email. No, I'm teasing.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, for real. No, I use ChatGPT. We use it a lot. We've started using it on our listings just to put in the information, and then we always tweak it. I send out a lot of emails to attorneys and other things, and you kind of get that, what's the word, imposter syndrome sometimes. And so even though I grew up, I worked in a law office, but I'm like now, I haven't communicated with attorneys for a long time. So any email that I'm sending out, I'm putting it in ChatGPT. If I want to, create a marketing piece or anything like that, I'm throwing it in ChatGPT.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a call with Tom Ferry today, and he was talking a little bit about ChatGPT, and he was talking about all the different ways he uses it. So at the agent level, I would encourage you all to go in there and explore, ask it questions, and just play around with it and learn. But if you're looking for video ideas, if you're looking for script ideas, if you're looking for ways to create emails, the beautiful thing about it is you can actually create tonality using ChatGPT too. So I'll give you a perfect example. I'm working with a client. She's looking to sell her property. She's got a tenant in place. She's like, what do I say to this person to like make the 60-day notice? How do I make it official? And I was like, have you heard of ChatGPT? And she's like, yeah, I use it for work. I go, just ask ChatGPT to write a 60-day lease termination letter. And I said, if you want it to be a little bit friendlier, then when it's done writing it, just ask ChatGPT to make it friendlier, and it will actually make that 60-day lease termination a friendly letter. And she did it, and within seconds it spit it out, and she emailed it to the client, and the client signed it, and we're done. So anytime you have to create something like that, ask ChatGPT. I second the marketing ideas. One thing that we're looking to do is get people to raise their hands more through our direct mail campaign. And Nazar had a talk with Tom Ferry, and they were talking about what are the crazy marketing ideas that you're offering people to get them to raise their hands. Like one of the ones that Nazar shared with me that we're beta testing right now is, we will sell your home for 3% more than market value, or we'll do it for free. And we're just testing that right now. So I went into ChatGPT and I was like, give me 10 crazy real estate related marketing ideas to get a homeowner to be interested in wanting to sell their home. And it spit out all these different ideas. And, some of them are kind of like, nah, that's not going to work. But if you ask for 10, you're going to find 2 to 4 great ones in there. And then you could say, give me 10 more, give me 10 more. And it will dig deep and it'll find more. So if you're looking for marketing ideas, throw it in there. What if it's like, give me marketing ideas to get somebody who's lived in their property for 40 years or more to be interested in wanting to sell their home? Because one of my farms is like people live there for 40 plus years. Whatever I can do to get ideas through ChatGPT, I'm using it. Presentation ideas. And then also one cool thing is, if you want to get a synopsis of an article, copy the entire article, post it in there, and just say, give me a 2-paragraph synopsis of this article, and it'll break it all down for you. So leverage technology to make your life easier, whether it's through automation or if it's AI to create new ways of doing what you're already doing. Number 4 thing that I'm doing right now is I'm elevating my character through coaching and through masterminding. So raise your hand if you're getting coached right now. Okay, I see a few hands getting raised. So look, it doesn't matter if you hire a coach on a one-to-one basis. It doesn't matter if you find a mentor. It doesn't matter if you find a peer group of like-minded individuals. At the end of the day, we always want to be growing. We always want to be getting better. And if you're just leaving it up to you and your own devices, if you're anything like me, you go into autopilot and you just keep doing what you've always done. And then 6 months go by, 12 months go by, you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I still haven't done this yet. I can't believe I still haven't done this yet. So I know that about me. And so I'm part of 2 mastermind groups. I'm part of an accountability group, and I've literally got like 4 coaches. So just to give you an extreme example, and there are people, by the way, that spend 10x what I'm investing in myself. But just to give you an example, when I first started in real estate, I was just finding smart agents in my office that I could kind of connect with, ask questions with. I would talk to my broker. I was looking for free ways to get better, joining networking groups. That's what I did. But over time, I started investing in myself. So to give you an example of what I invest in myself, this calendar year, 2023, so I'll invest $25,000 in Tom Ferry coaching plus the cost of the events. I'm spending $30,000 this calendar year for my men's group, which has helped me significantly in how I interact with people that I care about, and also my own internal growth. I just pulled the trigger on a $30,000 a year coaching program for another business that I'm running. This is coaching that's unrelated to real estate, but to my new business. And I just spent $6,500 to go get certified with Phil Jones in a private mastermind setting of just 13 people. And a lot of people are like, God, you're crazy for spending that much money on yourself. But I'll tell you this, that Phil Jones class that I spent $6,500 on will easily be a $250,000 return on my investment after I get and sell multiple listings and help multiple buyers and help my team help multiple sellers and buyers through the strategies that I learned in that class. So I don't look at it as a cost. I look at it as an investment in myself. And I'm looking to turn that investment into 10 or even 100x. If you have money to invest in yourself, I highly recommend it. If you don't have money to invest in yourself, but it's a goal of yours, find ways to get free mentorship and free accountability until you can. But it's necessary that you do. And then the last thing that I do right now is I'm focused on taking care of myself. I'm focusing on getting enough sleep. I'm focusing on eating as much whole foods, nutritious foods as possible, knowing that I'm not perfect, but I'm always looking to put great stuff into my body, right? Garbage in, garbage out, great stuff in, great stuff out. And I'm looking to exercise daily, sometimes exercising 2 times a day, right? So I feel like if I get enough sleep, if I fuel my body appropriately, and if I exercise and improve my strength, then I'll be in the best position possible to help my clients get what they want, because real estate is an extremely demanding business and clients demand a lot from us. The business demands a lot from us. And if you're not at 100%, which we all can control, then you're not going to be able to help people at 100%. So those are the 5 key areas that I'm focused on growing myself, my team, my business, my relationships. And I want to open it up to some Q&A to see if anybody has any specific questions around things they're working on, they need help with, or maybe if you want to dive deeper into other things that I'm working on to add more clarity.
Just really quick, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned if we don't have the money yet to find free ways to pretty much invest in yourself, your knowledge, what are some suggestions that you have as far as free avenues that we can take to get there?
Yeah, so I would start looking internally, right? If you're in the office, look for an agent in your office that's doing what you want to do, right? I know there are some really strong top performers in that office, and find ways to help them make their lives easier, right? So if an agent, let's just say before I was really growing the team, if an agent in my office came to me and said, "Hey, Rob, I love what you're doing. You know, you're getting great listings, and I want to learn how to do that. You know, would it be okay if I took over some of your open houses, or if I shadowed you when you did a showing or a final walkthrough or a listing presentation?" 9 times out of 10, I would say yes. So if you can find somebody in the office, that's a great place to start. If you can't find somebody in the office, then maybe you can look outside the office. I would say the easiest way to get mentorship for free on your own terms would be like YouTube University. That could be a great way to get started. If you find a podcast you love, if you find a YouTube creator that you really like on social media and you want to dive deeper into their content, that's a great free way to learn. I've got a lot of people that I talk to that are on YouTube University all the time, but I would start there, you know, or with the broker, right? Or talk to Christina and ask her, "Hey, who do you know in the office that you think could be a great mentor for me?" Because at the end of the day, here's the best part. Like it's a circular approach. Like I look at it like gears, right? Like if you got gears, if one of the gears is turning, the other one will turn. And sometimes this gear turns that helps this one, and sometimes this gear turns and helps this one. So if you're able to find people in your office and help them turn their gears, they in turn will help you turn your gears, and it'll be a mutually beneficial relationship. So I would start there.
I'm going to add to that, Rob, that Jonathan, you have access to a Loom. And so there's a lot of great content on there. A lot of, if you look at the calendar, daily webinars, masterminds, recorded information. So that's really a great one to go on. And then a plug for our friends at BAM, like follow them on Instagram.
Yeah.
Byron does every morning, and I've plugged this before. What does he call it? I can't remember. I
Is it
listen to
knowledge brokers?
Yeah, knowledge brokers or something. No, the hot take or
Oh, the hot sheet.
hot sheet. Every morning he does that, and you could go back and watch it. You don't have to watch it live at 6:30, but he breaks down all sorts of stuff. It's like it's seeking the information and then also putting yourself out there that you want. I think you said hungry mouths get fed as long as you're speaking out, but you have to be willing to put yourself out there.
One piece of advice I would share with you is singularity of focus is pretty important. So you could get completely bogged down in like researching how to be a better agent, researching scripts and all this other stuff. So if I were you, I would really focus on what do you really want out of this mentorship? What do you really want to improve at? What do you really want to do more in your business? And then start to research those type of topics. Start to align yourself with agents who are doing that, right? Not just any agent, but like if you want to improve the way you do open houses and you want to convert at a higher level, doing more open houses is definitely going to help, but doing better open houses is a better approach. And to do better open houses, you have to do more research and improve your skill set. So maybe you want to link up with an agent in your office that is doing tons of open houses and always gets open house leads. Hey, I just want to be a second body in your open house this weekend. You're probably going to get a lot of traffic. I can help you direct traffic. I can help you follow up with the people that come. I just want to see you in action because you're doing such great work. I would like to do more stuff like you, right? Who's going to say no to that? You're giving them a compliment. You're offering to help them. And in turn, your needs will also be met. So figure out where you want the most support and then start to dial in where you think you can find it until you can afford it. But ultimately, you always want to be in growth mode. Who else has a question?
If no one's raising their hand, I have one for you, Rob. What you mentioned working smarter, not harder. What are some things that you implemented, like maybe in the last few years, or something that you're doing different now than you were doing at the beginning of your career? That's smarter, not harder.
So the one thing that stuck with me about a month ago, actually, Byron, Lisa, and Tom Tool were talking about it on the Knowledge Brokers, is a lot of us are thinking that the best way to close more deals is to get more leads. And so many of us have been conditioned to go wide and not deep. And what they were talking about in this episode was actually removing some of the leads that that you're working with, so that you have more time to focus on the leads that are more motivated. So I'll give you a little metaphor. My team will probably laugh because I told this to them and they're watching. But if you don't know, my wife and I have recently gotten into gardening. And we've been watching a lot of YouTubes on how to be better gardeners because it's not easy to grow a garden and plants die and we don't know why, and too much water, not enough water. At any rate, we have this zucchini plant. And for the first 3 months of having this zucchini plant, all the zucchinis that were growing were like 4 inches in length and like 1 inch in diameter. They were tiny. And we're like, this isn't right. Like, this isn't a zucchini. Like the zucchinis that we see are like 10 to 12 inches. So we're watching all these YouTube videos, and what we learned is that zucchini plants have a lot of erroneous branches and leaves because it's like survival of the fittest. So there might be like 5 to 8 male flowers on the base of the zucchini plant to promote bees to come to pollinate to create more zucchini. The reality is you don't need 5 to 8. You may only need 2 to 3. You may not need 8 leaves, but 3 to 5 could be enough. And so we start pruning. And what happens is as you cut these erroneous male flowers off and these leaves off, what happens is the plant redistributes that energy to the other areas that haven't been cut off. And so now, after watching these YouTube videos and we cut these branches and these flowers off, our zucchinis are 10 to 12 inches and they're huge and they're freaking delicious. So what you need to ask yourself is what am I doing right now that is taking energy away from what I should be doing? What areas do I need to cut off because they're squeezing me for my energy and now I'm too wide and I'm not going deep? that's something that's great, because if we have, Tom Ferry says it all the time, if you have more than 3 primary goals, then you're not going to be able to achieve those goals because you're too distracted. So if you're looking at your business model right now, like, stop doing the stuff that's not helping you get anywhere and start focusing on, we all know what we need to be doing. That's what my coach always asks me. He always says, Robert, what should you be doing that you're not? We all know. Like, I always go back to the whole health and wellness, right? Like, we all know how to be lean and have abs and be strong, right? It's eat better food and work out more. But why do so many people struggle with it? We know what we need to do. So audit your business, figure out what you should be spending most of your time on, and remove the fluff and go deep on the stuff you need to be doing. Don't go wide on everything, because I get the concept of, I want to have a lot of fishing lines out in the water because I'll catch a fish, but I'd rather have 3 fishing lines with amazing bait than 8 fishing lines with no bait. I hope that answers your question. I blacked out.
That was amazing. And it's actually like International Fisherman's Day today. So very good way to pull it in. Just to close on that. So I grew up, my dad was a huge fly fisherman. And those of you that know fishing or fly fishing, you tie a fly or you get a fly for every single basically day of the week, because it could be a caddis fly, it could be a dry fly, but you're very specific in the fly that you're using, in the river that the conditions of the weather, all of these things. You're not just like, hey, let me throw out a thing with 15 different flies and hope that I catch this trout. You're using one specific bait or one specific fly for that specific fish. So I love that, being laser focused on there, and pruning the things that need to go away. Use the tools that you have and use the resources that you're given. Don't reinvent the wheel every time either.
Yeah, we can close off with this one cool story. I don't think I've even told my team, but I was at an event where the guy named Pace Morby, he was talking about how he had the opportunity to meet Bill Gates. No, he had heard a story about, so Bill Gates and Warren Buffett were at one point like the richest men in the world. And they didn't know about each other, but they put a meeting together. And the guy that was telling us the story said he asked them both to write on a napkin, what's the number one reason for your success? And he said they both wrote it down. They turned the napkin over. And then when they gave the napkin to the guy turned it out and they both had the same answer. And the answer is focus. Right? So it's so easy to get distracted. It's so easy to chase that shiny penny. I'm guilty of it. Like, what's the next best thing? How can I close a deal now? At the end of the day, if we have a singular focus on what we want to achieve, and we have 2 to 3 different strategies on how to achieve it, and we just put our head down and we go deep on those 3 different strategies, you're going to have significantly higher levels of success than if you try to do 10 or 15 different things.
Awesome. I think that's a perfect way to end. Thank you so much, Rob. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank
Welcome
you
to the Farnham team. Hope to see you guys next week as well.
Welcome,
super exciting. Farnham team,
man. That's awesome.
Yes, very exciting. So everybody go have a very productive rest of your week. A happy 4th of July. Be safe this weekend, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, everybody.